Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Riot Pistol mod, which is being released by user Degenerate Dak as yet another entry in the Commonwealth Weaponry expansion. I always do love these weapons, and what this glorious little piece of work is looking to add into the game is a Fallout version of the real-world Wilkinson Arms Linda, and I love that. It is a gun named Linda, and actually had a carbine version named Terry, and I had to look this up because it was just too strange and weird. Apparently, they're both named after daughters of the company founder, and that's just strange and, to be honest with you, something that seems like it would happen in the Fallout universe, and that makes me love this gun even more, beyond the fact that it is a real-world Cold War designed weapon, being a gun made back in the 80s, and overall it's just kinda neat. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what exactly we are getting with the Riot Pistol, which in its most basic and standard form will do just 18 damage with a 9mm round, with a firing rate of 104, a range of 119, accuracy of 52, and a weight of 4.2. Not too bad of one right there at all. And as you can see, it's a very, well, let's be honest, it's a very 80s looking gun, and I really like that. It certainly looks the part for the real world Linda, or at least the pictures I've seen of it, because I've never actually seen one of these IRL in person. But yes, it is a pretty cool looking weapon. I do love all the details on this thing, especially the engraving here, rather than the real world Wilkinson Arms. This is the Williamson Arms model Linda. Just all right there, very cool. I very much do enjoy those little details. So overall, the modeling and texturing is great. It does also have custom animations in usage, which just makes everything even that much better. And as for modifications, we've got a pretty good selection of stuff in here, but it's really a kind of early to mid-game gun, so it's never going to be too powerful even with modification and perks, but one that'll solidly, help you through the middle of the game, certainly, which, not too shabby there at all. And just overall, I think the stats are pretty good on this thing, though of course using a custom ammunition caliber with 9mm, which brings me to our next bit of the video, and that is how to get your hands on one. And of course, that means, first and foremost, a requirement. You will need the munitions mod to get that 9mm round into the game. Still is confused why that's not a standard round in this game, but yes, a 9mm added by munitions. Now, if you don't want the munitions mod, there is an optional second download you can get for this that changes it with the vanilla 10mm round, but that is an alternate separate download, and we're looking at the primary version of the mod, which requires munitions. Now, with that out of the way, once you've got munitions installed, you'll start seeing these around the world at level 10, injected into the level loot list on pretty much everything. You'll find them all over the wasteland. Anyone that might have a pistol might have a Riot Pistol, so good times there. And there are also 3 unique versions of the gun to go and find out in the Commonwealth, so not too bad there. I always do like those unique versions. They're pretty neat. So let's take a look at the standard version at the weapon workbench here, starting of course with the receiver category, where we've got the pretty typical stuff as per usual of standard, calibrated, hardened, on up to advanced for semi-automatic receivers. And then we do move into automatic receivers as well. So this thing can be a proper machine pistol, and again, the pretty typical stuff of just normal automatic on up to powerful automatic receiver, giving you the top level damage without additional perks of 20. And for semi-automatic, you're going to have the top level of 36. And then the barrel category, we've got a short barrel, a long barrel, a ventilated barrel, which I think looks real cool on this thing, and an integrally suppressed barrel here too, which of course if you go with this one means you can't have any muzzle attachments on this thing. Now then in the grip category, we've got a standard grip, a taped comfort grips here, and then also we can turn this into the Terry carbine by adding into here a light stock full stock or even recoil compensating stock. Pretty cool there. And I do like that it is changing the name up there to Carbine. I really wish this would be Linda and Terry, but hey, you know what? It works still. And then in the magazine category, we do have the standard and quick eject version of the magazine, as well as a drum and quick eject version of it. Now then in the sights category, not the biggest list, but enough here to keep things useful. We've got a standard, glow, laser, reflex, hollow, short, medium, long, and recon. All not too bad. And then finally in muzzle, we've got either nothing, flash hider, compensator, muzzle brake, makeshift suppressor, and finally a normal suppressor there. Not too bad at all. Plenty of things in here to change up how you would prefer to use the gun, and like I said, last you pretty solidly into the mid-game. Now let's go take a look at some of my modified versions that I did make and see these things in usage. And you know what, I also just thought about something I hadn't checked before, so let's check that real quick too. I just mentioned I wish it changed the name between Linda and Terry. I wonder if it changes the texturing on the gun. I hadn't looked into that. Nope, still model Linda. Oh. Once you make it the Carbine. Actually, this one's the Carbine. I guess that was a submachine gun. Let's give it a go too. Give it the benefit of the doubt. No, still model Linda. Oh, I was hoping it would change it to model Terry. That saddens me a little bit, but not exactly an important part of the mod, just an interesting little tidbit for me that I was hoping for. But alright, let's see how this thing fires. And there we go. Now with the standard semi-automatic receiver, this thing can shoot pretty darn quickly. Pretty much as quick as you can click the button, you will fire a round. It does have a pretty decent amount of kick, but it mainly shows up without trying to control it because there's just so many rounds even in the standard magazine. So it will, you know, give a bit to you, but it's not that hard to keep under control per shot. So not too bad there at all. Now let's take a look, of course, at the two modified versions. I've got the integrally suppressed version, turning it into basically a small medium-range sniping support weapon kind of thing with a short scope and that 36 damage there. So let's go with you first. And honestly, not too bad at all. Firing all 31 rounds at that little target with me being really crappy at aiming and not actually even using the holding of my breath. We were able to keep most of those on target. So like I said, pretty good with the kick on this. It does certainly have it with the 31 rounds it can affect, but it's not too bad and pretty easily controllable. Now let's look at the submachine gun version of this baby with that lovely drum magazine in there. It is a pretty nifty little gun, only doing 20 damage, but you know, with 74 rounds, not bad. Fire! And there we go, all 74 of those rounds downrange pretty darn quickly. I do enjoy it. The hollow sight is a bit meh for my liking. The red just kind of, you know, doesn't do it for me. But overall, it's still a functional sight, so there's nothing wrong with that, certainly. It's just an aesthetic thing for myself. But overall, pretty nice having this drum magazine in here, turning it into a pretty great little submachine gun. So let's see this thing in use against our usual friend, the Deathclaw, where, oh boy, oh, that's probably not going to go great for me. But, you know, it went pretty good on our last video, but we were using grenades. But nonetheless, let's see how this goes with these 74 rounds, keeping them all on target, actually not too badly. Taking down roughly about a third of that Deathclaw's health. So now let's get out our one with a short scope, now that he's gone a bit downrange. Oh, I was trying to shoot through that tiny little gap. Nope. It was worth a try. It was worth the try. But there we go. Couple of good shots on him. And with that higher 36 damage on this gun, not too bad damage-wise, though still not doing a huge amount to him. He is a Deathclaw after all. I'd say we probably took out roughly about another third, and with fewer rounds than was on this. But hey, let's go back down to the bottom of our stairs. And fire, 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 fire. We've actually gotten most of them on target, which is pretty great, though. Dear God, he's getting close. Oh, boy. I was really hoping we could have gotten him with that those 74 rounds. It was close. It was close. We almost did. And down the Deathclaw goes. Overall, not a bad gun. I do quite enjoy it. It's got that 80s flair to it. It is a pretty useful weapon for the early to mid game. Like I said, starting to pop in the world at level 10 all over the wasteland. And the unique versions of the gun are actually pretty darn interesting. They've got some certainly unique effects. And plus, I mean, a gun based off of a real-world gun called Linda is just kind of amusing to me. Well, Linda and Terry, and that makes it all that much better. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description of the video as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you have enjoyed. You do come back for whatever mod we do look at next. But until that time, thank you for watching as always. Well, have a good one.